Frequency outweighs effort. Now, a lot of you think that just by working harder, that you'll make more money and be more successful. But this isn't the case. We've all seen people that have worked extremely hard, 12-hour days, but they're in the same position. And once I understood this concept, my life changed. I made more money in 1 year than I did the previous 15. Because one thing you have to realize is that the frequency is the cause and reality is the effect. And unless you change your frequency, your reality doesn't change. You can't outrun, you can't outwork your frequency. And when you operate from a certain frequency and you're working really hard, you're putting a lot of effort in, you kind of derive at a place you never want to be at. As an example, let's say you've got a radio station at your house and it's playing a song you fucking hate. You scream at the radio station to change the song. But you can't change the song. And the dial, the volume is your effort and you're increasing the volume. This is what it's like for a lot of you that are trying to outwork your frequency and just putting the effort in and working 10, 12-hour days and getting absolutely nowhere. Your job is to change the radio station, not to just turn the dial on the volume. You got that? Now, I'm going to teach you the sequence of how this works in terms of your mind, because one thing you also have to understand is that if you operate from a poor frequency, you'll have a poor reality. If you operate from a rich frequency, you'll have a rich reality. And as business people, which I'll show you in a second, fundamentally, we get paid based on decisions we're making. The decisions we're making come from intuition and learnings from our mind or from our consciousness. And where we pull the information from is either maybe from a program we want to use or don't want to use, depending on our desired outcome. So I will show you that right now. So this is kind of the sequence of events that leads to you having a reality. So you operate from a specific frequency. Let's say consciousness. From a certain frequency, that then derives intuition. From intuition, you get mental nudges. I spelled that wrong, whatever. Mental nudges, you take action, and from that action, you get your reality. Now, if we ran the simulation of someone that has a poor frequency, then from a poor frequency, what do you think an intuition will be like for someone having a poor frequency or poor mindset? Well, then they'll get intuition from above because the source is corrupt up here based on an outcome that's going to be poor, because I'll have poor mental nudges, poor action, or poor reality. We're the opposite. And let's maybe just visualize it a step clearer. Let's put $100 million on the side here and maybe $1 million. And I'm not saying that everyone has to have a desired reality of 100 mil. I'm just using that as an example because that's where I'm at. So if you have a frequency that's at 1 mil, do you think that will receive different intuition and different mental nudges and different action and ultimately create a different reality? So if someone has a $100 million mindset or $100 million frequency, completely different. And don't forget your intuition, as Steve Jobs once famously said, he goes, follow your heart and your intuition. They somehow know what you really want, and it's going to guide you there, because the word intuition is a combine of two words, inner tuition. So it's guidance from above. And if you're getting guidance from above based on a place that is not corrupt, let's say, but it's not in alignment with your desired reality, then it's going to affect where you go. Because don't forget, frequency is the cause, reality is the effect. And you can't outrun, you can't outwork your frequency, because ultimately you're going to be receiving information, mental nudges, and taking actions based on it. So let's talk about what's even frequency made up of, right? For a lot of you, it might be just a random word, but it's made up of your perceptions, the way you perceive things. It's made up of your beliefs, your thoughts, your emotions. These all make up like a reality profile, which we'll go through in another lesson another day. But essentially, when you are operating with a $1 million beliefs, $1 million perceptions, $1 million thoughts, $1 million emotions, that is going to funnel down to create your reality. And this is why you see it clear as day. You have people with the same skill set. They know the same things. We read the same books. We watch the same YouTube videos, listen to the same podcasts. Like, do you really think that people are actually any smarter than you? We have access all to the same information, except some people operate at a different frequency than others. And that's where it's important. The next stage is to have self-trust. Because unless you trust yourself, then you won't be able to operate on the information you're getting from above. Now, a lot of time where people get unstuck is when they feel an element of discomfort. And discomfort is literally you going from the old frequency to the new one. Can't spell. And then discomfort lives in the middle here. And a lot of times in business, we are trying to move from the old frequency to the new frequency. And that discomfort is a sign that you're moving, because frequency are like energy systems and they're going to try and keep you where you are at. So when you start feeling discomfort, you have intuition that you should be doing a certain thing, but then you feel a bit of discomfort doing it. That's a good thing. That's a sign that you're on the right path. But it's up to you to understand, have some self-trust. That is the right thing for you to do. And that's where a lot of people get unstuck as well. They have a bit of discomfort at what they're trying to do, and then they push away and thinking that's not the right thing for them to do. But inevitably, that is exactly what you should be doing. Another place where people get stuck is because of the ego, which lives on the lowest form of consciousness down here. Because the ego tries to change the effect with the effect. Something goes wrong and it thinks that I need to do something else in order to get a different result. The ego is such a low level of consciousness and doesn't understand that reality creation has happened on the spiritual and also the mental plane, not just the physical plane. There's 3 different planes. And unfortunately for the ego, we have to operate at a different frequency or consciousness in order to actually change reality. So hoping this is kind of starting to make sense for you, and different videos will go for different topics a bit deeper. But what I want to just push the narrative home at the end of the day is that you have to work harder on you than you do your business. Focus on the who, not the how. My life changed when I focused on more myself, my mindset, my frequency, and not so much the business strategies and the tactics and stuff like that. That will sort itself out. We all read the same books. We watch the same YouTube videos. You know, we have access to all the same information. But this is what separates us. It's about being clear about what we want our frequency to be, our desired reality, and then operating from that frequency day in, day out without going off path and stuff like that. So I hope that helped. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next week.